Good morning, everyone. Robert here again. Well, have another slow day, so I figured finally take the time and try to get the fuel system finished up in the Galaxie. So I'll be switching out the carburetor. I don't know if you watched one of my previous videos where I did the ignition. I'd mentioned I'll be doing the fuel system next. I have a Holley 850 Ultra. I went ahead and ordered this AED kit. One of the things is when you switch these pieces out, you take the little brass inserts out to get those to go all the way in. And I tried, but these little filters you cannot reuse with this style here. Just not enough clearance. It won't screw in. So I'm going to be running the Holley Red fuel pump. I'm going to go ahead and run an all new line with the AN. I've already got started to save some time when I have some time in the evenings. And I made a little bracket, a nut insert, just a little simple plate, mounted the pump, started building my line, going up and over, coming back down, and then I got it mounted right here to an inline filter. It's just a Summit brand aluminum housing. It's got a little screen in it. You can take the screen out and wash it or replace the screen. 40 micron if I remember correct. I may switch that out to a 100 micron screen. I believe 40 will be fine for the carburetor though. So next I'll be plumbing all the fuel line all the way to the front, and then we'll work on swapping out the carburetor. Here's a little tech tip. On these AN lines, I find the easiest thing to do is cut them with an angle grinder and a cutting wheel. They do have a wire mesh in them, so I find the angle grinder is the easiest. If you just go through smooth and don't force it, it'll cut a pretty clean cut. If you wrap it with some painter's tape, mark it exactly where you want to cut it. The tape also helps keep it from fraying. And another thing is getting yourself one of these tools really helps to put the ends on. The ends are two pieces. If you've never done one of these AN lines, they're two pieces. Come on, work with me, fingers. And I'll show you a quick demonstration on how it works. This piece goes inside. This piece goes on the outside. This tool here really helps to get this outer piece on. Now the big part goes onto the hose. The little part, the other half of the fitting. So goes into here. This tool come in a kit from Amazon. It has from -4 to -12. These little inner pieces here you switch out for the size of the line. And I'll go ahead and show you how it's done. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this good. But like I mentioned before, the big side will end up on the hose. The little side you'll put inside of here. I use silicone spray, especially if it's a radiator hose, a heater hose. Apparently, this it came loose. I wasn't very good at paying attention. That's alright. So then, basically what it does is it screws this fitting on to the hose for you. Now, check it is my suggestion, because if you go too far, what will happen is it'll jam it really tight up inside of this hose. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's not quite in there. You can tell inside when the hose gets far enough. If you go too far, it just crushes the end of the hose, and you can never get the fitting in, the other half of the fitting to screw in. So then what I'll do is I'll back it off, tighten the clamp back up, yeah, I never said I'm the best. I'm just trying to show you guys how it's done. Okay, it's hard to see, but this one is almost there. Just a tiny little bit. Like I said, if you go too far, you can screw the fitting back off, but I find it's easier just to stop and check a few times and try to get it right where it needs to be. And just like that, now that fitting is all the way to that edge on the inside, the rubber hose. So then I find if I just turn it around and use this as a vise, the next part will actually be a lot easier than trying to hold it all yourself. Give yourself just a little room. There again, silicone spray, silicone spray. Now this half, give it a little push. The threads will actually lock the two together. I never said this part was super easy, but it's a lot better. And you don't have to have one of these aluminum wrenches. I just thought it was neat to get me a set of them. Come on. Once you get this fitting started, and it basically works as it screws in, the inside part pushes the hose out against the outside part, and there's actually like ribs inside of here. Keeps the hose from ever being able to pull out of the fitting. And then from here, it's just obvious, you just tighten it all the way up till it's all the way tight. Once it's all the way tight, that fitting is not coming out of that hose. The one nice thing about the AN is you decide to change something later, you can take the fitting back off of the hose and reuse the fitting. You can reroute the hose and shorten it, or you can decide, I'm going to go ahead and add a filter right here. So what I'll do is take this apart, switch to a 90, put it into a filter, you know, turn it, go a different direction. I love to use these AN lines on transmission lines, fuel lines. You can build them for, I've seen people build them for power steering lines, running power steering coolers. You can do a lot of things with these AN fittings. Turbo oil lines. So just I find that they are simple, they're flexible. You can put them wherever you need to. You can route them, you can put hangers. When you go to pull, say, the transmission apart, the lines just undo, they swing out of the way, no more metal lines in your way. All of my cars, all my classic cars, I convert them to AN lines for the transmissions. I run larger transmission coolers. They're also, this Dash 6 is a 3/8 line. Just so you know, it is a 3/8 line. So like these cars only had a 1/4 inch transmission line. Go into a 3/8 allows me to get a little better flow, less restriction, and more fluid in the system, which is good for the transmission. And just like that, that is an AN fitting installed on the hose. Okay, well here's the carb that came on the car. You can tell it's a 4160 because in the back it does not have a metering plate like it does in the front. I'm not saying it's completely worthless and just not as desirable. A little less tunability as far as I'm concerned. The secondaries are vacuum on this carb, and they are really, really slow to open. Could just be a diaphragm that's dry rotted, I don't know. I'm going to a mechanical secondaries on it, so if I stab it, it opens. And as far as I'm not trying to daily driver this is a mild built Dove 460. I want to have fun with it. I'm not worried about fuel mileage. I'm not worried about taking the kids to school. I want to have fun with this car. So we're upgrade the carburetor, the ignition, and we'll see how it does. Ignition's already done. It is a full MSD ignition system. This is where it is for now. My initial timing is 15 degrees. My total timing is 36. It's where I'm at for now till I get the carburetor in. I did put an AFR gauge in it and sensor. I happen to have an auto meter in this one. I've got other cars which I have a glow shift in those. But with the auto meter, it matches the other gauges in the car. Okay, I got my choke wire ran. Ended up not being able to find a wire out here that was key on in run and still had power, other than what I was running to the MSD, and I don't want to tie the two together. So I ran one from the fuse box to the electric choke. I went ahead, turned the key on, purged the fuel line, hooked it up, let it run onto the car, made a couple small adjustments on the floats. Let's see if I can get it to fire up so I can start making some adjustments on the idle screws and go from there. See what it does. I'll probably end up having to change some jets in it, I'm sure. For now, I mean, we're 20 degrees. about 670, 680. Looks like the AFR is about 12.5. A little rich, but it's a good starting point. From here, I'm going to have to take it for a cruise, probably change out some jets, I'm sure. Well, thank you for watching. If you would, please like, subscribe, share, comment. One thing I did forget to mention is that I ordered a kit from Summit to do the Holley fuel pump. That comes as a complete kit with the bus fuse, relay, pretty easy setup. If you have any questions, comment. If you would, please like. Have a nice day.